Presets can really speed up our overall work in the Develop module. And let's take a look at how we can use presets in order to help us out when we're converting to black and white. Well, here I have this photograph of a professional surfer, and what I want to do is convert this image to black and white. So I'm going to open up my Navigator panel, and then I'm going to open up my Presets panel. And I want to make this conversion by building off of one of these different presets. If you scroll down, you'll notice that you have a general grayscale conversion. That one's kind of muddy, not very interesting. Well, what about the high contrast? Well, a little bit too much contrast. And then another one, creative, black and white, low contrast. That's pretty good. Except I need to modify this. And one of the things I found is I almost always modify my presets. They're almost always starting points for me. So I go ahead and modify my exposure a little bit. And I'm just going to bring up some fill light, bring down my blacks, a little more contrast here, and modify the brightness until I have a nice black and white conversion that I think works well for this image. Okay, well that's pretty good. If we compare that to the original starting point, let's see how that looks. I'll do so by clicking on black and white low contrast. So here was the preset. Press Command Z on a Mac, Control Z on a PC to undo that, and then there's the file as I modified it. So just a really nice starting point. And with this particular file, you'll notice that I've just desaturated 100 points and then modified some other settings here. And that all was triggered or started off by applying the preset. Well, one of the things that we can do next then is apply these settings to multiple files. So I'll go ahead and click on one, hold down the Shift key, click on another or a string or set of photographs, and then click on my Sync button. This will then open up my synchronized settings, and what I want to do is synchronize my white balance, basic tone, treatment, and color. I don't really need to do anything else here. I'll simply go ahead and click Synchronize. And what will happen then is it will apply these settings to these other photographs. And as I click through these photographs, we can see that these settings have been applied to these images. One of the things that happens a lot of times is that each image reacts a little bit differently. So currently I have all of the images selected. If I just want the surfboard selected, well, here's what I do. I press Shift Command D for deselect if we're on a Mac. On a PC, the same shortcut, Shift Control D. And now here I could either go back to one of these other presets, I could try a different one out, and in this case I think maybe that high contrast might be a nice starting point. And then from there I can go ahead and modify my settings and change the black amounts until the image looks good. So as you can see, there's going to be some give and take in regards to how we actually use these presets, but nonetheless, they're great starting points, and they can really speed up our overall workflow, especially if we have similar images, especially if they're photographed in similar ways, or if they're a little bit different, as we've seen here. All that we'll need to do is perhaps experiment with some of the presets or some of our controls in order to come up with the overall best black and white conversion.